Oh, howdy there, Murdoch here, and we're back in this video with an educational video on how to stream your retro games using your retro console onto platforms like Twitch, Beam, YouTube, whatever. They all essentially work the same, and it's very easy to do through OBS, which is a free-to-use, like, open broadcaster streaming toolkit. It does pretty much most of the heavy lifting for you. So what I'm going to be showing you in this video is the equipment that you need to have a relatively nice stream and how to actually get your old console onto the stream. We're going to cover the equipment that you need, or at least the equipment I'm using. Obviously, some of these things can be substituted or eliminated in some cases. I'm going to be showing you how I did it with the Elgato HD60. Was that what it is? HD60S, yeah. And so it's pretty simple, pretty plug and play. I'm not going to cover exactly how to set everything up because there's already a lot of really good videos on YouTube, and I'll put some links down below to all the videos I use to kind of learn this stuff and to set everything up. So I'll provide that down there for you, and I'll talk about it a little bit, and I'll try my best to show you. We're going to cover the equipment that I use to get my Super NES gameplay onto, well, in my case, Beam, and that's where I'm going to be streaming when I do stream. So if you want to check me out there, just like my URL here, just go to beam.pro/themurdoch. Come say hi if I happen to be on, but predominantly I'm going to be doing Super NES stuff and a little bit of Xbox stuff because I'm an Xbox guy. But this should theoretically work for pretty much any console. For my setup here, it's going to be for consoles that using an audio-video cable or whatever. But theoretically, you can get adapters to do it with component cables, or even earlier, just using like one of the cable inputs or whatever, but we're going to be doing it with the audio-video cables because that's what I needed. Let's just jump right into it. We're going to cover some of the gear that we have, show you my setup a little bit, and we'll just go from there. And I hope this video is helpful. Okay, here we are with just the hand cam, and I wanted to show you my setup before I break it all down and kind of show you all the individual pieces a little bit better with a nice static shot. But this is pretty much what my setup looks like. So I have, at this point, a little bit of an old TV. It's just a 720 TV, but it's just the one I have in the ducky den here. But it's a nice size for gaming. It's 27 inch. Between 24 and 27 inches is typically where you want to be for most gaming anyhow. We have a Blue Yeti blackout microphone there that pretty much is going to capture all the audio of myself. You obviously need a computer of some kind. As you can see, this is the OBS file program rather pulled up here. So this is basically what the stream would be seeing if we were streaming it. That's the webcam though, so that's the Logitech 920C, or at least something very close to that. But that just gives you an idea of how I have it set up here. Built this little border here, including my insignia, little logo there, my MD duck foot thing. Then there's also another independent one here. The capture card, that's just back here. This is the Elgato HD60S. That's sort of the critical part of this whole setup. So that's the capture card there. We have a converter here. So you can see that has the audio video cables right there, and it converts the signal into an HDMI signal, which goes into the Elgato. That's actually all the tech that I use, and it's the way the setup just looks in its natural habitat here. It's a little bit messy, and I could definitely do this better, but as you see, I needed this USB splitter and all my various devices. I just actually found it easier, even though I do have two other plugs on my laptop itself, just to have everything related to streaming just in the splitter. It works fine for me, and when I want to detach my laptop, I just unplug one thing, and I don't have to worry about unplugging all these individual USB plugs or whatever. Obviously, down there we have the Nintendo 64. We have the Super NES. Right now, Super Mario All-Stars is in there. You can see on the TV, on the computer, all I have to do is hit that stream button right there, and that's all it would take to get going. In particular, this umbrella light's nice, I feel, for the face cam. It just casts a slightly softer light than my other lights. As I was saying, I'm not really going to be focusing a whole lot on how I accomplish everything here. And I'll do my best to give you the links to things I used. But very basically, this is the OBS file. There's a couple different versions of OBS. Right now, we're actually just in the OBS Studio because the other versions of OBS don't really record. But there are a couple other options. You can see OBS Studio. There's OBS, the 32-bit, FTL, and the 64-bit. Essentially, what you have to do is you need to create your scene. You have to bring in all your various sources. And then this is like the mixer, all the different things you actually need for, setting up the stream, so when you hit that stream button, you're streaming to wherever you want to be streaming to. But essentially,
you could just make up a new scene here just to test it. So theoretically, this is the generic scene, and then this is the stream we have for just the test beam stream new setup. If you want to create a new scene, just add a new scene. So right click on this box, add whatever you want to call it. So we'll say for test video, doesn't actually matter. So hit OK there, and then you need to pull in your sources. So right click, add. The first thing you want to add is I believe the video capture device. Yep, so we're going to be, let's see, add existing, Elgato HD60S. There you go. So where you go, there's the gameplay right there. Next thing you want to add is things like, let's see, video capture device, I want to say, for the webcam. So add existing, hit that webcam. Okay, that's obviously really big, so go ahead and shrink that down just for fun. Yeah, the mic shouldn't have to be added because that should all be handled elsewhere, I guess. Some of the stuff I'm a little bit fuzzy on now because I started setting this up a couple of weeks ago initially, and same things like the mic probably have to be set as your default mic. Then you want things like your images. So I'm not actually sure where I hid some of these images, but so if I just want to add existing, so what you have to do though, so if you want to say create new, add image 3, you have to actually look for the file, and you just need to know wherever you put that. So a yellow border test 3 is what I call that one. But then that'll import it in, hit OK, shrink it to whatever size you need. Obviously you want it to be covering your cam nicely to make it just kind of pop a little bit better and separates well. And then I had that other little thing there, and that's just for this other little tab I made. And all this stuff can pretty much be applied to anything you want to put into your overlay or advertising or things like that. I have mine really simple right now just because that's all I need, but a lot of people have like nice things where they, let's actually make this bigger. They have like nice big like overlays with like their name or their company, whatever maybe pro team they're a part of. They have like other scrolling stuff like music that they might be listening to. But that's the very basic gist of how you put everything in here. There are other settings here that you need to like learn how to toggle. And a lot of the stuff you're just gonna have to figure out on your own or from the other videos I linked down below. But the main thing you need to be concerned with is just like the stream thing here. You have the service you want to choose. I have it on Beam because that's where I'm gonna be streaming when I choose to stream. There are a lot of reasons for that, and I might make a video on that specifically. And you're gonna have to look for your Steam key. All that stuff you can Google and kind of just figure out. But let's go to the actual tech, and then that's pretty much going to be the end of the video. Welcome to the part of the video where I show you all the various pieces of gear I'm using individually. The previous shot I provided probably was a little bit of a mess. I just wanted to show you how everything looked once it was actually set up. But now we're going to show you all the various pieces individually. So let's just jump into all the pieces that I need to use to get my retro stream going on Beam. But it also worked for Twitch and stuff, like I keep repeating. First things first, this one's kind of simple. This is a 4-port USB hub. This is the box that it comes in. This is what it looks like. Standard USB cable here. This one is pretty cool because it has the 4 individual power switches, so I can just easily click things on and off. This one is the Sobrent, but this is the 4-port USB 3.0 hub with power switches. I believe this same one will actually function quite well with a USB 2.0, I believe. Works for both Mac, PC. This is what it looks like. Standard USB cable there. Easy to use. Next thing we have on the list is the Blue Yeti Blackout USB microphone. I got mine in a set that came with Watch Dogs. Yeah, Watch Dogs 2, rather. GameStop.com had it. No problem. Easy to use. It's super plug and play. You might have to toggle a setting on your computer where you set this to your default microphone rather than the built-in one that you have on your laptop or PC or whatever else you might be using. I think it captures nice sound. Sound quality is really important to a stream or videos in general. A lot of people are actually fairly forgiving of video, oddly enough, but if you have really bad audio, that actually bothers people more. It's weird, but it's totally true. But the webcam, easy enough. This is the Logitech C920. As far as I know, this is still pretty much the standard for streamers. It's a very nice webcam. It's on the cheap side now because there have been a couple models after this one, but this one was like 60 bucks or whatever. Not a huge commitment. I mean, if you want to spend $200 on a webcam, you can, but just for a face cam,
the video is going to be really small anyhow. And this one still records in 1080. This one only does 30 frames a second, but once again, for a face cam, that's really okay. I mean, if you do overlays where you pull up your face cam a bunch, you know, where you drop your gameplay, a lot of people do that. If you want to do that, then cool. Maybe you want to get a slightly nicer one, but honestly, this one records quite well, I feel, and it's a low commitment at $60. Oh, it doesn't come with this. This is like a little $5 tripod. It's really easy. So getting to the heart of how you do all this is the capture card that I'm using. This is the Elgato Game Capture HD60S. They have a few versions of capture cards, so maybe you want to like do some research to find which one's the best for you. They all do basically the same thing. I felt like this was the right one for me, but do some research. It does come with one HDMI cable there. For my setup, I did have to buy a separate HDMI cable, and I'll explain why in a second here. But then there's the USB cable that gets where it piggybacks the signal, you know, all the various input you're putting in back to the computer, you know, where it goes into OBS and then goes out to the stream. So now it starts to look like a little bit of a mess, but trust me, once you get everything set up and put away and put the, you know, maybe tie up the cords a little bit, it's honestly not that big of a deal. The other part that we need, or at least I need, I feel, for getting my gameplay onto Beam using the Elgato. There's probably other ways to do this, but this is how I'm doing it, and it works perfectly fine. The other thing I have is this signal converter or whatever, where it converts the audio-video signal, you know, from the console, you know, in this box. It converts it to an HDMI signal, and that signal goes out to the Elgato. It did not come with the HDMI cable, so you're gonna have to buy that separately. I just got a super short one because that's obviously all I needed. But anyhow, that's what it looks like. So it's audio video to HDMI. It's got the connectors right there. The only cable it comes with is the power cable, I believe. But it does have some options where you can toggle between 720 and 1080. Here are your audio video cables running from, in my case, the Super NES. You got your connectors. It's color coded. It's always been color coded, you know, just to make it easier on everybody. So here we go. Got all the various connections there. So this is running from the Super NES in my case, but this will work with any console using audio-video cables. So simple, easy thing to use. So everything goes in from the console into the converter. Then you need your HDMI cable going from the converter right there. So right now that's what it looks like. That's it. Then that goes into the input here for the capture card. So capture card there, HDMI input there, simple. So you're getting something like this. And so now you have the Super NES cables running into the converter. This is just to power the converter through the HDMI into the capture card. That signal gets sent off to your TV or monitor, right? You know, this way with this HDMI cable. And then this USB cable goes back to your computer. And all that's plugged in, and I know I showed you before, but this goes back to your computer, and that's how the stream, OBS, whatever, gets your game capture is through this cable. But that's pretty much the heart of what you need, or at least what I use to get my game capture, my gameplay from my retro gaming setup onto Beam, but it works for Twitch or YouTube or whatever you're gonna use, like I keep saying. It's all handled by OBS really easily. I'm going to put some links down below to all the various programs I was using to build this whole thing. But that's all the gear that I'm using. The only other thing I'm using is an umbrella light over there, which you can actually see reflected in this Jack White print. So I don't really need to move that again. But that's what I just use to have nice soft light on my face so everything appears well. That's pretty much going to cover everything, I think, though. I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully that covers everything I needed to cover because I need to put this video together and put it on YouTube. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this was helpful on some level. If you have any questions, just leave them down below, and I'll be happy to answer them as best as I can. I'm not like a super professional on this stuff. You know, most of this stuff I just kind of watched videos and just figured it out on my own. A lot of it was guesswork that just happened to work out, but this works incredibly well for me. I hope it works for you. And if this video is helpful, just go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content. I might do videos where I go into a little bit more on how I do everything. I might do a video on, like, you know, my own stream clips and stuff like that. If you want to see any of that stuff, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. As I always say, it makes me feel like I accomplished something. But otherwise, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye.